Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Date today is the 7th of August, year of our Lord 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Moto Noah. If you're watching today's episode, there are going to be some striking differences in my appearance than what there normally would be. Normally, I just got a nice, cool hat on forwards. Usually, I'm not wearing sunglasses, and for the first time ever, I am debuting my PSG Champions League final Kvaratskhelia shirt. Just got this in the mail the other day. Got to be honest with you, a bit of a happy accident. Didn't realize when I bought it that it was the Champions League final shirt. And then it got here. It's got the patches. It's got the little thing in the middle. It's got this over. Oh, well, it's getting covered up. There we go. It's got this over here. And then when you turn it around, Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian genius. Best winger in the world. People are asking, well, Nick, why today are you wearing a hat backwards, and why are you wearing your Gucci sunglasses? Wow, those Gucci sunglasses that you're wearing are really cool, Nick. Not a materialist. Sometimes there are cool people who don't have cool shit, but I just so happen to be a cool person who does have cool shit. So it's sort of a hostile way to start the show, which is ironic, because the reason that my appearance is such today is because I've been very hostile recently, and I've had to do some soul searching, and I just wanted to sort of dial things back. It's the middle of summer. My son is going through a lot of growth right now. He's learning how to do a lot of things. And yesterday he was organizing his food. He's never done that before. He's jumping up and down, hopping up and down. It's recently, I don't know where that started. He's doing a lot of things. It's very crucial developmental period for my son. Been spending a lot of time with him while Maddie's been at work. And I don't know. I just thought it would be nice to sort of kick off what I'm going to refer to it as Cool Guy Weekend here at the Coping Hour. We had Surveillance Week a couple of months ago. Maybe it's time for another little gimmick. I don't really know. Cool Guy Weekend. Well, I hope that explains why I'm wearing a hat on backwards, why I got on cool shades, why I got on a Kvaratskhelia shirt. Just want to, let's keep the vibes mellow today. No hostility. I'm not going to get mad at anybody. I'm not going to get mad at anything. I really want to bring up the Sydney Sweeney stuff. I got a lot of takes on that and the way that sort of it has been culturally absorbed by the zeitgeist, but I'm not going to, because if I do, I'm going to get aggressive, I'm going to get mean, I'm going to get nasty, I'm going to get hostile, I'm going to say things that are not nice, and so I'm not going to do all that stuff. We're going to keep it super light today, and then on Monday's show, we'll close out Cool Guy Weekend. So what should you be doing? Let me do some quick little rundown here. How can you at home participate in Cool Guy Weekend? Well, if you don't have to work, maybe one of your coworkers is like, oh, if only somebody would pick up my shift. You know what a cool guy would do? They'd pick up that shift. And then you get a little bit extra money, and then, it goes back into the karmic economy. And then, maybe one day that'll boomerang back around to you. Although, Cool Guy Weekend, cool guys, do they work? Are they laborious? Are cool guys laborious? Well, Harrison Ford was a cool guy. And he works. Sure, he's an actor, so sort of a cartoonish job. Idris Elba, another cool guy. He works, but another guy. Sort of two bad examples off the rip there. People who do work. Don't take somebody's shift this weekend. Go do something else that's cool. So what's something else cool that you could do? I've been making my girlfriend. I've been meal prepping for her. So twice this week, I've made super extensive sandwiches for her the night before, so that way when she gets up in the morning, it's already in tinfoil. All she has to do is just boom, take it to work. The first sandwich I made for her was they were little steak tips with a little gravy marinade. I just let it sit in the pot, let it sizzle for a little bit. Nice little 6-inch sandwich roll. Cut that open, some garlic butter on there, toast it, put the steak tips in there, little bit of cheese in there, diced up some onions, put that in there. Boom, she's got a sandwich. She's got lunch for the next day. The one that she's going to be eating for lunch today that I made for her, it's not as exciting. So it's the same garlic butter on the bread, blah, 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 blah. Cajun-style chicken, little bit of cheese, little bit of bacon in there. And then I put a little homemade sauce, a little drizzle homemade sauce in there. Boom, she's got a sandwich. So I'm just saying this to say, fellas, you got a significant other out there, do something nice for her. You don't have to buy her anything, but I don't know, make her food or open some doors for her or, I don't know, listen to her stories. When she comes home from work and is like, ugh, this bitch at work. And you're like, it's always something at work. There's always, nothing good ever happens at work. Just listen to the story this time. Don't try to help the problem. Don't be solution driven. Just listen to the problem. Although I did have something happen the other day. This was not chill guy at all. Was downtown Maddie and I were going around to a bunch of stores. She was doing some shopping. And I didn't want to take the stroller into this one store she was going into because it was super crowded and like it was just a really tiny store. And I didn't want to be the guy who's just like trying to maneuver a stroller around and I'm like taking up aisles. I didn't want to be that guy. It's a nice day. I was like, it's no problem. I'll just like go up and down the street with Roman. No big deal. And so there's this couple that's in front of me and they're a group of girls walking like towards us. And the woman that was in front of me says to the group of girls that are walking by, you know, it's just super nice. Like, oh my gosh, I love your top. Like something about her outfit and you look so cute and I love that. Where'd you get it? Blah, 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 blah. She's just being very nice and just a stranger complimenting a stranger. That's all it was. And then the girl that was walking by who was being complimented, oh my gosh, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. Dude, 2 seconds later, as soon as the women were out of earshot of each other, I passed by the woman that just got complimented, and all I hear is fucking bitch. Whoa! What the she was being nice to you. So I said it to Matt. I go, you just missed just an insane moment, and I explained it the way that I just explained it to her. And she goes, yeah. What do you mean, yeah? Now, the truth is, even I kind of understand, like, yeah, I don't know, don't talk to me. I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt so bad for the woman that just thought she was doing something nice for a stranger. And then the woman played nice about it. Fucking bitch. Dude. And what's crazy is, so we ended up catching up to the woman that got complimented. And I was like, look at her top. It's not even that cute. I'm not going to be able to explain it to you. And it's most of you don't give a shit about that anyways. But even Maddie was like, it's not really that cute. So now who's the fucking bitch? Who's the fucking bitch now? So not very chill guy weekend of that woman at all. What's another chill guy thing you could do? Just drink some beers. Drink some beers, do some drugs. I don't know. I don't know. Just try not to be mean to people today. Log off. How about that? But listen to the show first, and then Chill Guy Weekend can commence. Ladies at home, how do you participate in Chill Guy Weekend? Do all the same stuff, but instead, don't do anything nice for your significant other because it's not their weekend. It's supposed to be your weekend. Well, maybe there's a little take in there. Chill Guy Weekend is actually for the girls. It's meant for the girls, but it's supposed to be, I should have thought about this before I started recording. I just knew that I was going to try to not be mean to people today, and I wanted to extend that over to you guys. Don't you never take me anywhere. Don't do that, but, how do I do this? I don't know, ladies. Just do all the same shit that I said. Open. You know what? I don't know. Drink some beers, smoke a little bit of weed, make some nice food for your significant other. I'm just backpedaling on that. Just do something nice for the person in your life. Actually, here's how you can participate. Just doesn't sound nice, but it is true, at least in my case. When you go to work and some bitch does something to you that it makes you mad and your first instinct is to go home and be like, you're not going to believe what Jessica did at work today. Bottle it. Just bottle it for the weekend. Let him play his games. Let him do whatever it is that he's doing. If he's building like a model train set in the basement, give him a Capri Sun. How about that? And then that way, because I swear to God, I was just having this conversation with Maddie the other day. Not the other day, all the time. I'm like, listen, I'm here for you. I'm the person that you're supposed to tell your problems to. But I would love it if one day you came home from work and told me one damn good thing that happened. Just one thing. One good thing that happened. Because every day it's 1,500 bad things and that's it. This one, you know what? This actually is not very chill of me and I'm coming off as hostile right now. So let me bottle this. Ladies, say whatever you want to your man. Let him know about Jessica. And how she's just a huge bitch. Our managers don't even know she doesn't do her job. And I got to cover for her every single time. She's always calling in sick, but I know her ass ain't sick. I saw on her IG story that she was at the mall, that she was at the NASCAR race, that she was at the damn gym. All right, let it rip. Let him know about it. Because someone in your life has to know about it, and that's the man in your life that has to know about it. I love it. Love that for you. Keep doing it. So what? So that's Chill Guy Weekend. We'll be back on Monday. We got an interesting email, and I've been waiting on this one for like a week or two now. And I am starting to get into this habit where if there's something that I know that is going to hit the email inbox or I see a subject line that is really interesting to me, I won't read it until we're live on the show. And so that way you're getting like my authentic reaction. We apparently, as of an hour ago, got an email from Wizard Fan Tom, Bathroom Tom, Some of you may know him by his preferred nomenclature, Hot Tom. Well, he put on my radar like a week or two ago that his French girlfriend was going to email into the show. I've been very scared. Now, this is also potentially not a great way to kick off Chill Guy Weekend, is by reading an email from a woman who I've otherwise been a little bit hostile towards, and her native country, and the people in her life, and just as a people, the French, I think, are mean. So I'm a little bit worried about how this email is going to go. But I do a lot of dishing on this show, and sometimes it's equally important that I take. So I think maybe that's what we're going to be doing here. So Tom, brother, welcome back to the show. Subject line is The France Email, Part 1, Paris. Hey, Nick. Sitting in the airport bathroom at the airport in Paris. What's up? What's up? I promised this a while back in the YouTube comments, and it took some time to materialize, but I'm waiting with Victoria for her friend, and it is finally time for the Victoria email. To break the email for a second, we are gathering live on the show. Tom's told me this before, but for you at home, I've never said her name because but Tom said it, so I just didn't really feel like my place to do it. But okay, Victoria, Tom's French girlfriend, has emailed into the show, so let's get back to it. We just landed in Paris. Victoria is staying for a while. I'm staying for 2.5 weeks, and we'll check in with some American observations on France these next 2 weeks. Hell yes. I asked slash pestered Victoria to write this email for a while, and will reserve the next paragraph for whatever she wants to write. Tom included parenthetically, I will be helping with small corrections to the English here and there, close parentheses. So here it is. For note, we landed Monday morning, but did not have time to finish this until today. That's fine. So this is Tom's French girlfriend. I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to keep it chill. And if she gets mean, it may be warranted. It might be. So let's do it. She writes, hey, buddy. In my opinion, French Canadians are nicer than the French in general. In France, we say that it's just regular American, but which speaks French. So wait, in France, we say that it's, and in parentheses, you said Canadian French. So Canadian French are just regular Americans, but they speak French. Okay, I see what you're saying there. The things about French is that they usually like Americans, but in limited measures. I mean, we are not super patient, specifically in Paris. We sometimes don't care that you speak 3 words of French thanks to Duolingo. It's funny, but if you need to ask something to someone quickly, he will not try because he's not your teacher and he doesn't give a fuck. Outside of that, they are kind of friendly with everyone and will always have something to say about where you are from. And on the strike culture / riot culture, it is very common. And we know that if we don't fight for our rights, someone will take them, as every democracy should be. The power is on the citizen. I'm going to break the email for a second. I 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. And any time that I've ever, because I think that's part of my tirade against the French is, but this isn't even a bad thing. I always say they just love to riot. Anything that happens. What's the most recent example? There was like, this isn't the most recent, but the one that comes off the top of my head was like within the last year maybe, when, I don't know, like there was like a new retirement age, or like pensions were getting taken away, and so like the elderly were kind of getting like left out in the cold. And so the Parisian youth were like, fuck no! And they lit a bunch of trash cans on fire and threw them at the police and shit like that. That rocks. That is awesome. I completely agree with what you said at the end there, that if, the power in a functioning democracy is on the citizen, does belong to the citizen, and if you do not fight for your rights, somebody will take them away. Could not have worded that better myself. Completely agree with you. And yeah, love it. Let's get back to the email. And then, okay, so for some context, I had asked the last time, whenever it was that we talked about Tom and the French and his girlfriend, I asked of something about Macron, if she had seen the video of him getting slapped by his groomer 100-year-old wife. And then I think I maybe asked about, like, so what do you guys think about that? Do we only talk about that, or do you guys care about that too? So let's find out. Yes, I saw the video of Macron getting hit. It had more reaction in the U.S. than in France. Yeah, there we go. We are used to our First Lady. We are used to it, and our First Lady is more crazy than usual. In France, we do not like Brigitte Macron because she does not represent us, and she is not humble or accessible to the people of France. Yeah, because what does she wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning probably, and then she's eating lunch by 9 in the morning, and then by 3 p.m. it's bedtime, and then there's probably like an 11 to 2 bingo or something in there. So she's booked, and her schedule is completely different from the rest of the country. So not accessible. Yeah, it's probably because she's maybe doing like water polo or something like that. As for Macron, I did not vote for him in the last presidential election. He has good ideas, but he kind of shit on us, and he is focused on international stuff as if France is not important enough for him. He always is a part of international political situations, but is not into what French people want unless we strike. It is like being an only child with parents who don't listen to you. It's annoying, so we do bad things to get more attention. I love it, because that really is, in my head, the genesis of it, where it's like, again, I just respect it, because it's like, hey, things aren't going the way that we want them. What if we organized as a society, and we said, fuck the government, and then we got what we wanted? I don't know what the track record is and like how much it works and how much it doesn't work, but I know that it be happening a lot, specifically in Paris. So, yeah, Macron being more interested in like international politics does also seem to track. Again, from my Americanized Western eyes, I think that does track. He was really involved at the beginning of, I don't want to say the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine shit, because that was like, I mean, when did they annex Crimea? Was that 2013? I think it was 2014. So like when the actual invasion started in 2022, was that February of 2022? I mean, there's video of this, like in Macron's office, like he's on the phone with Vladimir Putin and he's on the phone with Zelensky, and he's the one who's like trying to mediate all this shit. It's very bizarre that he was the one that was doing it. I'm not trying to say like, well, it should have been the United States of America. No, it does make sense that it would have been a European leader, considering it's in their backyard, so it makes complete sense. But I just didn't know that Macron like held the cards like that. And so it was just interesting. Maybe it was just the one perspective that we saw was just Macron being the one. But it was interesting because it seemed like he was kind of getting through to Putin a little bit, at least through the phone calls that we saw and could hear. And then obviously 2 days after those phone calls took place, eastern Ukraine was under siege. So it didn't work. But again, that does seem to track. So let's get back to it. It was a great time in the United States. Hard to make deep connections in the U.S. Most of the people are very superficial. I will not say more because I don't think you want my opinion from a French girl, but it will be available if you want more. Yeah, I do. Like, yes. People's opinions on America who aren't American are always welcome on the show. They're always very, very interesting. I'm sad that you think I don't want to hear that. I very, very much do. There's a reason that you answered like 6 questions that I had about shit that goes on in your country, because I was interested. Like, are you not a little bit interested anywhere in the world that you are right now? If it's not the United States, aren't you a little bit interested to know what does somebody who doesn't live in my country and has never visited my country and has only viewed my country through the lens of like social media think about it? Even if it's like 5% interested, I don't know. Like, there are certain countries, I don't think you'd want an American's opinion. The average American, if you ask them about fucking Afghanistan, probably not going to say nice things. If you ask the average person about like Israel, well, but they would be more critical of them as like as a government than I think than they would as a country. Like, this is not the horse that I want to die on. I don't want to die on this horse. I have been bucked off of this horse, and I'll name a different country. Why don't I just say any country in the Middle East? If you ask the average American what they think about it, probably not going to say the nicest things. My favorite country in the Middle East. Ooh, is this technically Asia? Is Azerbaijan, is that technically Asia? I don't know if that's the Middle East. Well, then my favorite one in the Middle East would be Pakistan. Probably Pakistan. Mountains are cool. I don't know. Well, Iran has better mountains. Yeah. I would love to know your thoughts on this, Victoria. Just as people are superficial. Yeah, it's funny. I would think that about you guys, though. I would think that about you guys. Also, going back to the beginning of it, French Canadians are nicer than... You actually said something in here. I should have clocked this immediately. I should have said this. French people viewing French Canadians as quote-unquote Americans who just speak French, those are like, whoa. I don't know if people outside of like North America conflate Canadians and Americans. We're not the same. We're not the same thing. Like, if you put an American and a Canadian next to each other and you just made them have a conversation and you had to figure out which one was American and which one was Canadian, it might take you a while. Because, like, outside of the, if you put a guy with a Southern accent next to, I don't know, a guy who has, like, the stereotypical Canadian accent who's, oh, fucking Molson's, eh? Or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you would be able to tell pretty quick. But a lot of Canadians and Americans do sound the same, like a Midwest accent to like what's a place in like fucking Winnipeg? I don't know. I'm just naming a place. Saskatchewan, what do they sound like in Saskatchewan? Fighting words. Especially more so for Canadians right now. They don't want to hear that shit. Because I think Canadians probably have the most pride in their country than they've had. It's unknowable. I don't know when the last time they've been. Because Donald Trump has been trying to buy them. He did kind of give up on that. He was like, which I tried to say on the show. He's not. That's just one of those things that he just kind of fucking says. But I would imagine that if you lived in Canada at the time, that wouldn't matter to you, and it would still piss you off that any foreign leader was like, "What if we just gave them a check and we just said, oh, that's ours?" He may have threatened once or twice also to that he was thinking about like military action. He's like, "What if we rolled Abrams tanks into Ontario? What if we used the Ambassador Bridge in Detroit? We skipped out on the fees and we just said, this is ours now." Yeah, probably. Yeah. But fighting words to, again, what does an American think if you're like, yeah, Canadians are basically the same? Well, to me, in my head, we've kind of always just been brothers. So I wouldn't be offended by it. I think Canadians would be offended by that, though, especially the French Canadians. That's wild. So to finish the email, hey, Nick, it's Tom again. Did some editing and took a while to finish this email. Lots of traveling in Paris and now heading to Corsia with Victoria. Hope all is well and enjoy the email. Tom, thank you very much for this. Excited for part 2. What's that going to hold? It's unknowable. That was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Victoria didn't have anything to say about any time we mentioned the French. You have to mention the fact that without the United States of America, everybody in France would be speaking German. You're welcome. Actually, probably everybody in Europe. We did say in the last episode, as it pertains to sports, Americans getting involved in anything that Europeans are doing, it fails. It doesn't work. We need to leave them alone. The only time that America should ever intervene in European affairs is if there's a war. And then World War I, we were involved, but that war just kind of ended because there was nothing going on. And then by 1918, they were like, who the fuck even was Archduke Ferdinand? Who was that guy? I don't even remember. Do you remember? Guy in the trench 50 yards in front of me? He was like, he like pokes his head out and then I go, pop! He gets his head blown off. And he was like, well, shit, okay. And then they just kind of stopped. When you look at a map of World War I and like the front lines, for 4 years, they just didn't move. They literally just never moved. And then it just kind of ended. And then World War II, I don't need to do this whole spiel again. Half of it is tongue-in-cheek. Because, again, Americans were not the only ones on the beaches in Normandy in 1944. It was not just us. It was also the British. It was also Canada, by the way. It was also Canada. But it was funny because, so, like, we had, I think, Omaha and, like, Juno Beach. Or Juno might have been it doesn't matter. So, like, of all of these, like, these beachheads that we are trying to establish in Normandy, what was the span? Like 10 damn miles across this coastline? Throwing out some arbitrary number. Half of it was only Americans. We were like, this is our side. And then the other side was Canada and the United Kingdom running like joint ops together. But we were not technically mixed at all, as far as I understand it. And so it is funny that we were just like, hey, you guys can go get those beaches, but we're going to go get the one. And the ones that America got are the ones that's the ones that they make movies about. And that's the ones that, like, Omaha Beach is that's Hollywood's favorite fucking thing in the world. Or, like, the most recent World War II Call of Duty game that came out. What was it called? Oh, yeah, Call of Duty World War II. Yeah, they did a damn D-Day. I don't even remember if it was Omaha Beach, but it would have had to have been. And they basically just, like, did Saving Private Ryan. Really fucking hacky. Because at least when Medal of Honor just did Saving Private Ryan, it made sense because Spielberg was involved in those games. Whatever, who cares? Thank you very much for that email. Loved it a lot. Was not hostile. You don't have to comment on the fact that we saved Europe because France gave us the Statue of Liberty, not as a result of World War II. And that was even so. Honestly, actually, there is the take. Because France gave us the Statue of Liberty to celebrate our independence, because they were like, it's very funny by the French to be like, hey, those English fuckers, we hate them too. Here's a cool trophy for a bunch of farmers and local militias. I don't know, beating the French, or not, I'm sorry, not the French, the English. Those damn redcoats, we hate those fuckers too. He was a Statue of Liberty. And it took like 150 years for America to, pay them back for that. But we did. We liberated France. We helped liberate France. Took the Nazis, 2 weeks to occupy the whole damn country? You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's get back to the emails, though, folks. Coping Hour subs. Am I being a chill guy right now? I don't know if I am. I'm not. I don't know if I am. Let's get back to the emails. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. So the problem is now I have to read emails that are chill. Or cool guy, not chill. Cool guy. The cool guy emails is what I have to do. Let's do this one from Michael. Michael, welcome to the show. Subject line, what the hell is the deal with the Little League World Series? Hey, Nick, I did not proofread this email. Great start. I have faith in my ability to type a coherent email off the fly. Wouldn't it be like off the rip or on the fly? So off to a smashing start here, Michael. I was scrolling through YouTube TV and noticed the Little League World Series was on. Every year, I forget about the Little League World Series until I randomly find a Eastern Texas versus Oklahoma game where 10 to 12-year-olds have the national spotlight in the dead of the offseason for the major U.S. sports league. The MLB is on game 110, so it might as well be the dead of the offseason for them. Yeah, you do. We are starting to get that post-All-Star break, like, let's get to the fucking playoffs. You know what I mean? I'm not just saying that because the Tigers are in the bud. But I completely agree with what you're saying. So let's get back to it. I think the Little League World Series is one of the craziest annual events the human race has ever thought of. We broadcast children playing America's pastime to the entire world while everyone watching at home yells at their screens when any mistake is made. The craziest part about the Little League World Series is that every team has one kid who is a liar. I cannot believe there was a 5'10", 160-pound, 11-year-old in the Maryland versus DC game today. Here at the Coping Hour, we cover all the biggest stories. We cover them from all angles. Send the parents who are faking their kids' ages to federal prison. The main reason I could tell that the kid wasn't 11 was because he moved like prime Hakeem Olajuwon. Any 11-year-old who is actually that size would move like the Thunder legend Alexei Pokusevsky. 1 minute 48 of an NBA game. Yes, I copied that from Google. I'm not a psychopath who can spell Poku's name off the dome. Also, the B story to this year's Little League World Series is if America loses in the World Series, how quickly does ICE deport the entire team and their families? I wholeheartedly believe if America loses, heaven forbid, that it's a Central American team that wins, there will be no trophy ceremony. Everyone involved with the team will be sent to Alcatraz on school buses. I pray we get another Big Al who hits dingers in this year's tournament. There's a little bit left here in the email, folks. Obligatory sports take. We do not give the Nets front office a hard enough time for using all 5 of their first-round picks this year, especially to select 4 guards, on top of the entire league seeming to agree that Cam Thomas is not a positive asset, so I don't know what trade value he'll have come the trade deadline. Well, I'll answer the second part of that first. I think on this show, at least, we do actually give Brooklyn a lot of shit for the whole... they had 5 first-round picks, and they used them all on guards. And 4 of them were, I think, point guards specifically. I think we, again, on this show, have done a pretty good job of that. Everybody else, I don't know. I've listened to Bill Simmons and, like, Zach Lowe and Ryan Russillo and those guys. I think even, like, Nekias Duncan has talked about this, too. It's like you just kind of clown them, and then you move on, because it's dumb. It doesn't make any damn sense. I don't think we give Brooklyn enough shit for the Cam Johnson deal. I think that was a horrible trade. Horrible trade. And Denver got away with highway robbery. I think that's what we need to make fun of them for a little bit more. And then, so what else is there? Cam Thomas is a negative asset. I don't think he's a negative asset. He's just not worth as much as he thinks he is. Which we're all like that in some degree. We're all, deluded into thinking that I deserve $100 million when you know for a damn fact that you don't. But the difference there is I think Cam Thomas does believe that he is worth that much money. But his archetype, like the style that he plays, we covered this for 2 entire episodes within the last 2 weeks. I just don't, there's just not a lot of money laying around for a guy like that. And if anybody thought that there was, then he wouldn't still be a restricted free agent on the day that I'm taping this, August 7th. So I wouldn't say he's a negative asset, but, Trade deadline, well, it's going to, first of all, I don't think he's going to get traded, but just depends on what contract, like what number does he sign for? Because if it's a tradable deal, if he gets like Herb Jones money, was that like 3 for like 62 or something like that? Well, that's movable. Even for a team that's in the second apron, like, oh, okay, we could do something with that. I don't know. The rest of your email, though, the Little League World Series, you think it's the most like insane thing that we broadcast in America? I don't know. The hot dog eating contest is pretty fucking wild. I love it. It's like super compelling television. Joey Chestnut is like probably one of the top 10 athletes on the entire planet. When you factor in like his age too, he can still just eat 70 hot dogs like in the blink of an eye, just like that. Pretty wild that we do that. They're broadcasted to the entire world, and we yell at these kids every time they make a mistake. I don't do that. When I watch the Little League World Series, I'm not like, look at that pussy, drop the ball. He's 9 years old. I just think it's fun that like kids get to be on TV, and like they'll probably never get to be on TV again. Was it Cody Bellinger? Was he in the Little League World Series? I don't remember if it was him, but there actually are players who get to Major League Baseball who were in the Little League World Series. So, but like 99% of these kids, this is it. Like this is going to be one of the coolest things that they ever do. They just get to like play in a tournament, in a super competitive tournament on ESPN. I think it's really cool. Like I believe that maybe the parents that are there get super intense about it, but I just think it's fun. I just think it's cool. Now, granted, I haven't watched one in, I couldn't tell you how long it's been. I mean, what was it, 2007? Kid named Dalton Carricker hit a walk-off home run. They beat Japan to win the whole damn thing. All these like Japanese kids just crying their eyes out. And me as like, was this 2007? I was 9 years old. It's the funniest shit I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, USA, USA, USA. I don't know. Yeah, Big Al. My name's Big Al, and I hit dingers. Yep, pretty cool. He's like a grown-ass man now. By grown-ass man, I mean, what is he, like 17 or something? Yeah, pretty cool. I don't know. My biggest complaint with the Little League World Series, hate the sportsmanship. Hate the sportsmanship factor of the whole thing. When a kid goes yard, and the first baseman and the second baseman and the shortstop and the third baseman all high-five him while he's running the bases, that's loser shit. I hate that. I hate that so much. Listen, it's a game, and they're kids, and they're supposed to have fun, but I don't know. That to me is like that. If Donald Trump can do anything that I would agree with, he would look at the Little League World Series and he would say, no more high-fiving the opposing team when they hit a fucking home run. That shit is insane to me. That's not sportsmanship. That's just like, you're treating it too much like it's a game. This has to matter a little bit. I don't care that they're 10 years old. This has to matter a little bit. I'm not going to be swayed on this. But you talk about Donald Trump doing shit to the Little League World Series. I'll give you credit about the ice jokes. I'm not even going to contribute to that. It'd be it wouldn't be very funny if that shit happened. Like the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic wins the Little League World Series. And they drive a school bus out to home plate. They win on a walk-off home run. And home plate, you can only touch home plate by going up the stairs of this bus, and it's actually at the back of the bus. And so the kid has to run up the stairs. Or maybe the bus is in the dugout, and it's attached to the stadium. So they think they're just in the dugout, but it's actually a big bus. And then they go to Alligator Alcatraz. I don't know. I was going to say quit while I was ahead. I don't think I was ever ahead. I think I was in like an 0-2 count this entire time, and I thought I was dodging the strike zone. I wasn't. I think I should have just left it to you. You nailed it. Very funny. Weirdest thing that we broadcast? No. I don't know. Wipeout. Is that show still on the air? Pretty wild. It's a good show, but what is this? American Ninja Warrior. Hate to be the guy who's like, the original Ninja Warrior was so much better. It was. It was cooler when you didn't know what the fuck was going on. You had no idea what they were saying. They would be like, no, that would not be Cool Dude Weekend of me. Don't do it. But I don't know. Was it Mount Fukudori? Mount fucking Dama? I don't remember what it was. But in the original Ninja Warrior, the set was like at the base of a mountain. And in the background, there was a big ass mountain. And then, but you never really saw episodes beyond like the qualifiers. They just never aired. That show rocked. They would get so excited about shit, but you had no idea what they were saying. But it didn't matter because you could see if a guy went in the water or not. Still, something that is broadcast in the United States, even if it's not anymore. Pretty wild show. Also, like a sporting event. It's an athletic competition. Weirdest thing that we broadcast? No, I just think it's fun. They're kids. They get to be on TV, and they get to, like, I don't know. You know, imagine now, especially now, if you're a 12-year-old and you got a little crush at school, and you hit her up on what do they use now, on TikTok, or like you hit her up on Roblox, and you're like, hey, check out ESPN at 3:00, and you rip a dinger. Imagine going to school, like middle school, after you played in the Little League World Series, because school's starting in within the next month. You go yard 6 times in the Little League World Series, and you go to 7th grade in a couple of weeks. Dude, first of all, you're the coolest kid in school. Second of all, your little crush that you had, guess what? You're getting married. Good for you. Good for you. That's awesome. So just think of the kids. Think of how much fun that they're having. But stop high-fiving the other team when they hit home runs. That's so dumb. Sportsmanship is like, don't railroad the catcher. You know? Oh, I hit a moonshot, and then a kid stuck his arm out over the fence, and he robbed me. While I'm rounding the bases and going back to the dugout, give him a little hat tip. Give him one of those, right? Stick your arm out, thumbs up. That's just a good play, right? That happens in the MLB. It's a good athletic play. High-fiving these kids on a home run. My ass. CopingHourSubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. Chill guy weekend. Cool guy weekend. Chill guy weekend. Cool guy weekend. Well, I'll do this instead. Did you know we just passed the 3-year anniversary of when Kevin Durant went to the front office and he was like, either you're firing Sean Marks. So he went to Joseph Tsai, the owner. He's like, you're either firing Sean Marks, firing Steve Nash, or you're trading me. Whoa. Nuclear button. That happened 3 years ago. That just happened. The anniversary just happened 3 years ago. And so, I don't know. We're heading into a new NBA season, like a little over 2 months from now. Be playing preseason basketball 2 months from now. Camp's about to start in about a month. And it really got the gear spinning for me. Like, first of all, I guess that nuclear option that KD took in Brooklyn, it's not that I didn't, like, remember that it happened, but it's not what I think about. Like, when I think about the Brooklyn era, you know, Kevin Durant and Kyrie and James Harden and all that, I guess my brain kind of just immediately goes to foot being on the line, James Harden's hamstring getting blown out 5 seconds into the Milwaukee series. And then I also think about, I guess like the Kyrie vaccination stuff, which, by the way, has been a whole nother thing. Kyrie's kind of going off the wagon a little bit again, saying a lot of shit. He's on, what is he, on Twitch or on Kick? I don't know. Some of the shit he's saying, he must be on Kick because some of it has to be against Twitch's terms of service. He's starting to say some wild shit again. I don't know what's going on. It was like when he was with LeBron, you didn't hear that much from Kyrie. And then the mask started to slip, and he was like, maybe the earth is flat. Which I think sucks that he still gets shit for that, because the truth about Kyrie saying the earth is flat thing, he was kind of just like horsing around a little bit, and he was not actually saying it. But then everybody just like jumped on him for it. And then even to this day, like even I just did it, but like I at least know that he didn't really mean that. Now, there is a lot of shit that he said since then that he did mean that was dumb. But even like you talk about the Brooklyn era and the vaccine mandates and Kyrie not being allowed to play home games for the Nets for a while. One of the things he said on a live stream recently was like, I went to Sean Marks and Joseph Tsai, and I was like, if you guys aren't going to let me play because of this mandate, then release me. Trade me or release me, because like I want to hoop. And they were like, shut the hell up. And he was like, I don't even want to be here. To be honest with you, I don't even want to be here. And they were like, what the huh? What's going on here? I don't know. He said some stuff about I didn't really fuck with Steve Nash or something, and I only did because that was KD's boy until he wasn't KD's boy. Now, I know KD and Steve Nash recently went on LeBron's like fake podcast that he has. They spent a lot of time, and I would imagine a decent chunk of money, making the set that they were recording in look like it was really deconstructed and like, oh, we're just in some chill environment. But you know that shit was in a fucking warehouse or something, and they just like made that set. There's no way LeBron would have been around all that splintered wood. Hell no. So maybe they hashed some shit out on there, but you put a gun to my head and tell me to watch the entire episode or listen to it. I'm dying. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I don't know. Kyrie also recently said, stop gooning. He said, stop doing that. It's destroying your brains. Please stop gooning. No notes there, Kyrie. Probably a good message for the kids. Where I'm going with all of this, though, is like, I don't know. What era of Kevin Durant do you look back on the most fondly? And do you look back on the most like, damn, that was so cool? Because the truth is, despite everything I just said and despite everything that we know about how it went in Brooklyn, I think that is my favorite version of him. And I don't know if it's because I really, really loved how bold it was for him. This is going to sound dumb, but like how bold it was for him to change his number and like seeing him wear number 7. And then I think the biggest factor to like the aesthetics of him being in Brooklyn was the Basquiats. The damn, those, they had the black one and then they also had the white one with like the yellow numbers. Dude, that 7 Durant jersey and the Basquiats, oh my God, so sick. Like, I'm not a basketball jersey guy, but if I ever did get one, or like even like a jersey or something, a little jersey shirt, that's the one that I would want because it's so cool. Like, I think 15 years from now, the way that people wear like the Raptors Vince Carter jerseys, or like a, name a guy, like a Penny jersey or something like that. I think that like a Brooklyn, but specifically the Basquiats, the alternates, the 7 Kevin Durant, 7 Durant is going to be, oh my God, it's going to look so good. But I don't know. It didn't work, but I just thought that was where like, even if the numbers wouldn't suggest it, that was where I was the most scared of him that I had ever been. Oklahoma City was its own thing. That was the ascension. That was where we learned who Kevin Durant was. He's Kevin Durant. You know who he is. Well, the only reason you know who he is because of what he was doing in Oklahoma City for, however many years. He won an MVP in like 2013. I think it was 2014, maybe. I think it was the same year that Russia annexed Crimea that Kevin Durant won his first MVP. And I remember being crushed and really upset about it. At the time in high school, I did not like Kevin Durant. I did not like Oklahoma City. But that birthed one of the earlier, not earliest, but one of the earlier, like, Yuta Real MVP. Like, Kevin Durant crying and clapping and looking over at his mom, Wanda Durant. So that was a good time. Culturally, that was a good time. Him and James Harden and Serge Ibaka and Russell Westbrook and yada, 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 yada. We all know the story. We all know how they all broke up. And then it's like, well, truthfully, the most deadly version of Kevin Durant would have been Golden State. Yeah. 2 finals MVPs, right? Yeah. You would suggest that. Isn't there something, though, about, and I'm not Rain Man, I don't look at this shit, but isn't there something about, like, the on-off numbers where, like, somehow that Golden State team, that oiled machine for the, 4 years that Kevin Durant was there, 3 years that Kevin Durant was there, they were better with Steph on and KD off? Is that true? And then even when Steph was off and KD was on, the numbers were worse. Not bad. They were still beating the shit out of everybody and winning by 50 points. Isn't there something in there? One of you, Jacob, look into that for me. Steph versus KD on-off numbers when they were in Golden State. I don't know. Phoenix, Kevin Durant, Hooper. I don't like how fast I blew past the Golden State piece of it, but like we all know. I guess just say my piece on it because I'll just say Phoenix, he hooped. It was cool. He looked cool in some of the uniforms. He looked the Valley one that they had with like the damn cactus looked sick. But like, when he went there, it was sick because I was like, wow, Phoenix is going to have an identity. And I thought it was really cool when they had an identity with Book and Chris Paul. I thought it was really cool that they went to the finals because it's like a team that stunk forever and Devin Booker stayed loyal and then like was rewarded by going to a finals. It didn't work out, which was not at my expense because I wanted Milwaukee to win anyway. So like that was fine with me. But I don't know. I was excited for them to be back again when they got Kevin Durant. But then as soon as the Bradley Beal thing got thrown into the mix, with all due respect, anybody with a damn brain was able to be like, oh, okay, so this is just the formula with Kevin Durant now. Is he's just like, who are my guys? And then when I get my guys and it doesn't work, I throw a fit, and then it's everybody else's problem. Like, Kevin Durant and Golden State, I think, to me, was so fun because it's actually the exact reason why everybody fucking hated it so much. I just love living through the moments that are easily identifiable as like an era-defining team. Like a group of guys that you will look at forever and be like, remember when this thing happened, right? And being conscious of that in the moment isn't always the easiest, but it is easy when it was July 4th, 2016, and Kevin Durant is signing with the Golden State Warriors. My next chapter. That was a meme for a while, too, in the Players Tribune, right? So that was always really, really exciting for me. And again, it was easy to identify that and to stay present during that. But yeah, they beat the shit out of everybody, and the Warriors have gone 73-9, and they got one of the 5 best players on the world to join their team, and the rest was history until it wasn't. And then Kevin Durant had a calf strain, and then smoked his Achilles against the Raptors, and didn't Clay tear his ACL? Was that the same series? I don't remember. And then the Raptors won, which was also not really at my expense because the Raptors winning was sick. Like one of the single coolest championships that I'll ever live through ever. Spearheaded by one of the best individual seasons that you'll ever see from a guy ever in Kawhi Leonard, where for like 2 months, we were like, holy shit, there's a new best player in the world for the first time in 20 years. It's not LeBron. Is it Kawhi Leonard? Because that was the year, that was LeBron's first year in Los Angeles. And so he was just out of everybody's fucking brain because that team stunk. And he knew that. And he was faking injuries so that he didn't have to play with those bums. Until he really didn't have to, and Pelinka, or was it still Magic at the time? I don't think. No. Magic was out of there because I think it was the year before that he had the whole like, I'm not gonna be there, that whole thing. He just kind of like left. He just kind of like walked out and was like, oh yeah, I don't work here anymore. What? We didn't know. I don't know. So what about Houston? Well, we obviously we don't know yet. You would imagine that this could be. How do you say it? Like. I think it could very easily be the best situation. My son is awake. I can hear him crying. He's been taking a nap for the last 45 minutes. I can hear him crying. I don't know when I'm going to get back to recording this episode, folks, but I'll be right back. Hours have passed. My son is once again asleep, and we're back to finish the rest of the show. We were talking about Kevin Durant in Houston, how I think that's going to go. It's hard to imagine, I think, that it doesn't go well. I think Houston has actually been one of those teams that has kind of fallen victim to this like greater, what do you call it, like a marketing problem that the NBA has, where I think we talked about it a little bit recently, where it's like focusing on the stars of the last decade that are still in the NBA. When you think about Steph, you think about LeBron, and when you think about Kevin Durant, honestly, and so maybe that's where Houston will kind of shift in the right direction with this thing. But the point that I'm trying to make is like, the teams that have kind of fallen to the wayside and kind of don't get pushed are like the Oklahoma Cities of the world, which is insane because they had the MVP, they had a couple All-Stars, they have 3 guys on their team making $200 million. When you have one of the 5 best players on the world, you win a championship. It's crazy that people just kind of don't. I don't want to say they don't care and like project my own shit, but it's also true that they're not really a team. I don't really know how to make this point, but like usually a team wins a championship and they're pretty easily bandwagonable, but because they're just not pushed by the league that they play in, you don't really hear that much from them. Houston is a team that I just don't think has gotten a lot of shine, despite the fact that they've drafted really well. Rafael Stone has done an amazing job fixing the post Daryl Morey Houston Rockets, and like I don't want to say like making them a better team than they were like a decade ago, because the genesis, what's the word that I'm looking for, like the oh, come on Nick, there's a really good word for this, but like the point of the Morey Ball Rockets was a team that was designed specifically to beat the Warriors, because if they could beat the Warriors, then they could beat literally anybody else. The problem was that they never beat the Warriors. That never happened. Now, you could point to the 27 consecutive missed threes. You could point to Chris Paul's hamstring not working. You could point to a myriad of things. The point being, it just ended up not working, right? They never actually got over the hump, and they never beat Golden State. What's funny is even now, when they've distanced themselves from the Daryl Morey identity and the James Harden identity and all this stuff, they have a completely refreshed team, and they've drafted really well, and they've signed great free agents. Like, people outside of Houston thought the Fred VanVleet contract, when it originally got signed, was like, oh wow, cool, you got Fred VanVleet and like a bunch of kids, like very cool. And look how that ended up turning out, right? So now you have this completely new Houston Rockets team, and they get the 2 seed this last year, and they go up against the Golden State Warriors, and whoops, it's just never really been in the cards, right? And so then, and this is actually coming to me in real time, right? Well, let me just put a bow on that little point. So it stinks, I think, if you're Houston, that you've had so much success in these last couple of years, and last year, you got the 2 seed in the West. And people still didn't really take you that seriously. People still kind of didn't care. Getting the 2 seed in the West is insane. That's really, really hard to do, right? And for a team that, I don't want to call them a young team. I think Houston, again, under the Raphael Stone regime, has been a really healthy blend of guys who have had, 6 to 8 years in the NBA and guys who are in their first couple of years in the NBA, right? And you're going to say, well, that's probably most good teams. Yeah, not really. Because, if you look at the Clippers right now, their average age for the roster is, it's got to be 30 years old. I mean, that's a veteran team. You know what I mean? And so it's good for Houston that they've been good, but it stinks that people don't really get the shine that I think maybe they deserve. And so it's funny now you think about, okay, well, now are they a team that's built to beat Golden State? Well, probably, but I don't even, at this point, what even is Golden State? What do they look like when it's April? Are they even in the playoffs? Are they in a play-in spot? Like, where even are they? So if it was the exact same teams, right, and it was the exact same scenario, like if Kevin Durant was on the Rockets for the playoff series that they just played against Golden State, it's funny because in my head, I'm like, well, that could be what puts them over the edge and beats Golden State. But if I really wanted to be a dickhead about it, I could be like, well, what is the history of Kevin Durant playing Golden State in the playoffs? What's the most recent example of it? Because if he had been on, let's say Kevin Durant got traded to Houston at the deadline, right? And he would have been on that team that played Golden State. Well, someone can correct me on this. Would the last time that Kevin Durant played Golden State in the playoffs not have been 2016? When the Warriors were 73-9 and in the Western Conference Finals, Oklahoma City was up 3-1 and they blew that lead? It had to have been that, right? Phoenix didn't play them in the... Am I just forgetting something? Because it obviously wouldn't have happened in Brooklyn. Unless it happened in Phoenix and it's just false memory. It's just not coming to me right now. It's not what a false memory is, but it's just not coming to me right now. So it would be 10 years since that happened. So last time they played Golden State. Oh, well, what does that look like? I don't know. Is Kevin Durant really the guy to get you over the edge? Yes. Yeah, he would have been. This time, he actually would have been. And I don't know. I just love the Thompson twins so much. I'm so happy that I have one of them on my favorite team. And I think, have you guys been seeing the pictures of, like at Summer League, they were doing a lot of stuff together. I think they've been shooting commercials or something. I don't know. It's escaping me like what media they've been in together recently, Asar and Amen. But like Asar has been like getting huge. Like his arms are huge. And so, I don't know, you think about Asar through the lens of a guy who last season couldn't really do like all of the normal offseason stuff because he was still getting over blood clots or still had blood clots, or the timeline on that whole thing is pretty unclear, which I think is okay. I think it's one thing when you have a torn ACL, people want to know, hey, what's going on with you? When you have blood clots, it's like, hey, why don't you make sure you're good in your real life? You know what I mean? You're not going to die because you tore your ACL. You can die because you have blood clots. And so I don't think we really need to know that much about the timeline. The point is that he's healthy now. Although the Victor Wembanyama one is interesting. He's also completely fine. Just weird. Didn't they both have them in their arms? That's a weird place to get blood clots. It happens. Wasn't Chris Bosh's in his legs? I don't know. Isn't it more dangerous to have them in your arms? I think surely it must be because, well, it's dangerous no matter what. But isn't it just because it's harder to get them in your arms? I have no idea. This is another little thing about Victor Wembanyama that I want to throw in here. Quick little couple minutes on Victor Wembanyama. I've been thinking about him because did you guys see within the last couple of days, I guess Victor Wembanyama has been working out with Kevin Garnett? Huh? Now, here's what confuses me is I guess inside you there are two wolves. Because 3 months ago, this guy got on a plane and went to China and was living in a fucking monastery for God knows how long, and was going all zen and was hanging out with the Dalai Lama. He's just hanging out with a bunch of monks in China. Whoa. So he shaves his head, and he's getting centered, and he's like, okay, this is how I play within myself. All this, whatever. Who knows what he learned over there? So he comes back from that. He does a bunch of, chess tournaments in France and in New York and all this stuff. Really cool. Just, hanging out with fans and stuff. Playing chess. But then he goes to hang out with Kevin Garnett, who is one of the more, and I mean this, what I'm about to say, I'm saying this in the most endearing way possible. Love Kevin Garnett. But that's one of the most violent motherfuckers that has ever played, and vulgar and just dangerous motherfuckers that has ever played in the NBA. Kevin Garnett would kill people. For real, kill people. If one day it came out and he had a Ray Lewis type charge, and he shot a guy outside of a nightclub one time, yep, Kevin Garnett. Probably over something super small and trivial that didn't matter. Guy stepped on Kevin Garnett's shoe or something and he just shot him in the back of the head. Be like, yep, sounds like Kevin Garnett. Just like really mean. He's just a really mean guy. So I'm like, did you just unlearn everything that you learned with the monks? But then I thought about it a little bit more critically, and I just take it back what I said at the beginning. Inside you, there are two wolves. Sort of a yin and yang type situation, right? Very much like an angel and a devil on Victor Wembanyama's shoulders, where now he has the tools, he has the, he has the ability to, the arsenal, the toolbox, synonyms, to go into any given NBA game, and he will be able to say, what would Kevin Garnett do in this situation? And what would the monks at the monastery do in this situation? And he just lets them battle it out. And that's how, and then he will be able to discern on his own whether he needs to whip somebody's ass or if he just needs to chill and let like Stephon Castle deal with it or something like that. Go get him. Like he uses his attack dogs, right? The league is in trouble. The league is in trouble. But then what else I was thinking about this was like, where do we even go from here after Victor Wembanyama? Because, like, you never want to be the guy who's, like, stamped. He's going to be one of the best players of all time when he's, like, 20 years old. You don't really want to do that, right? When a guy is as big as he is, you don't really want to do that. Because the odds are that physical anomalies such as himself tend to have weird careers. They don't last that long. Kevin Durant, very much an anomaly in this regard, right? Kevin Durant, outside of the ruptured Achilles that he had, which came off of the back of a calf strain, like we just covered, largely been like uninjured his entire career outside of like the normal injuries that happen to a player throughout you twist an ankle, you do this, that, you straighten muscles. That stuff just happens, right? Unless you're LeBron and you've been taking human growth hormones since you were 13. But I'm just kind of like, okay, so every couple of years, there's like this new guy, this new like physical specimen that we just cannot believe exists. And then they just destroy everybody. And we just kind of keep leveling up and we keep leveling up. And then for a few years, Victor Wembanyama was on our radars, right? Like this, he didn't just come out of nowhere. I mean, when him and Chet Holmgren were playing in like the FIBA, like under 18 leagues, you know, and you had both of them going at it as like 16-year-olds. And it's so gross when you look at the videos of them posting up on each other because it's the two, like, bugs. Like, it's just like two stick figures. Like, when they're clanging against each other in the low block, it just sounds like when you play, like, a Lego Star Wars game and you're building something and the clicking of the Legos going together. Like, that's what it sounds like when they're posting up on each other. And so both of them have been on our radars. And I think you could use both of them as the example here. But Victor Wembanyama is, like, 7'4", and I don't know how much he weighs, like 205 pounds. It doesn't have that much weight on him, but that'll come, right, with time. It's hard to put on weight when you're that big. And he's seemingly only getting bigger. And when a guy like him can do everything, you can't name something that he can't do at least a medium level. I'm just wondering, like, so what's the evolution of that? Because unless you're a country that really wants to get involved in athletics and you want to have some success in the Olympics or in FIBA, or in the EuroLeague or wherever it is, you want to have some like American transplants, get some recognition in the NBA and send your guys over here. And so you just start like making guys in a lab, right? It's not unfounded. People mess with DNA and genetics and shit all the time and they make little test tube babies. It happens. It's a thing that happens. Some of those guys have played in the NBA before. And surely they've played in other sports, you know. You think anybody that plays cricket was made in the lab? Probably. I couldn't tell you why. What's a position in cricket? Striker? I think that's a position in cricket. Just yam the ball. They kind of have home runs over there. I don't know how that shit works. One time I had a Lyft driver try to explain. We were going to a Bulls game. There. Lob City was in town. This was, 10 years ago. Go to a Bulls game and the guy goes, oh, basketball. Yeah, I don't know anything about basketball. And we're like, that's cool. You're our Lyft driver though, so let's just get there. She's not really in the mood for a conversation right now, brother. But, we played nice and we're like, oh, what do you like? He's like, cricket. I love cricket. He's like, those games can last 18 hours. And I was like, that does not sound like something actually that I want to put on my radar at all. And he spent the entire car ride explaining cricket to us. With no visual aids, I couldn't. The cricket game on PlayStation, you can download it for free if you have like a certain subscription that gives you access to PlayStation's equivalent of like Xbox Game Pass. So you can download the cricket game for free. I thought about it, just kind of I don't know. But then I was like, why? I don't know how this game works. I don't know any of the players. You could be a 99 overall in cricket, and it also just seems dangerous. I think cricket seems more dangerous than football, American football. How's that for a take? It's not. It's not true. But with that ball zipping around, those helmets don't seem very protective. If I get hit in the rib cage with that thing, I'm puncturing a lung. That's not going to feel good at all. Not my sport. But you could be made in a lab for that. You could be made in a lab for anything. I don't know. Where am I going with this? What's the point? Well, again, it's like, to me, Victor Wembanyama just kind of feels like the end of, like, holy shit guys, the way that they're built. Like Zion, I guess, actually, Zion's a good counter to this, I think. Where he's not, like, tall. I mean, yeah, of course he's tall. What is he, like, 6'6", 6'7"? But he is just, there's just so much force. There's just so much, like, inertia with what he does. I don't think inertia is the right word there. But, like, he uses his inertia to do cool shit, to do cool yams. Like, I think sneaky, something about Zion's career in the NBA that just bothers me is that, like, point Zion isn't a thing just as much as it should be. Because to me, anytime I've watched him, and this goes back to, what was he, Spartanburg in fucking South Carolina? Like, this was always what he did. Going into Duke, this is always what he did. In the NBA, it's kind of what he does. But, like, if you give Zion the ball 25 feet away from the basket, yeah, if somebody sets a screen, you're probably just going to go under that screen because he can hit threes. I mean, wasn't it his first game of his career when I think they were playing the Spurs, and he had, like, 18 straight points, and it was sick. A couple of those were threes, right? He can shoot threes, but you're probably going under the screen because if Zion's 25 feet away from the basket, all he has to do is go downhill, and there's so much mass, you're not going to be able to stop him. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. Like, if you're a brick wall, he's the fucking Kool-Aid man, bro. Oh, yeah. Yam. I just wish we got more of that. Maybe it's not the best style of play for him. I guess the immediate counter to that is like, well, do you really want the guy who either plays 25 games or 65 games, and there's no middle ground, it's one of those two. Do you really want that guy and his, like, primary source of offense to be, like, running into motherfuckers? Probably not. Probably not. But also, with the position that he plays, it just kind of calls for it. And, like, the reason that he's so effective is because he does shit like that. You know, you don't want Zion Williamson, like, only cutting off the ball and, like, not getting contact. I don't know. Whatever. And I just really hope that it works for him, too, by the way. Because I think it's really going to stink. And it has, I think, to this point, like, other than the injuries and whatever legal issues he's going through right now. I haven't seen any updates on those. Have those resolved themselves? Is he good? Is he safe? I don't know anything about what's going on with those, other than he got accused by a few women. So if he clears that, although it's the NBA, so it doesn't matter if he doesn't clear that. He's still going to suit up on opening night, as long as he's healthy. I don't know. I just don't... For how exciting he was, I just think it was... Like, remember the block he had? I think it was against Eastern Michigan, where he swatted out of the fucking roof of Cameron Indoor. The ceiling is the roof, and the ball just went through that motherfucker. What else do I got for you guys today? Cool guy weekend kicking off here at the Coping Hour. Well, we did get an email about music. Is that a cool guy thing to do? I don't remember if it was asking me what music I listened to or if it was something else. So why don't we give it a quick read? copinghourSubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. Drew, welcome back to the show. I believe, he says at the beginning here, I believe Drew is the one that collected the data for us for the Coping Hour census. It didn't go well, but it was my fault. It wasn't Drew's fault. It was just too much data, and I didn't look at it beforehand. I got overwhelmed, and the numbers started to... I just got scared, and I stopped reading. I just punted on the whole thing. Subject line, music and creation. Hey, Nick, it's Drew again. I recently was able to go see one of my favorite artists perform live for the first time, and I had such an awesome time. I followed them to the second show of the tour because it was within driving distance for me. The music is electronic and heavily produced, just to say that it's more than a guitar and a voice. So I wasn't sure how the live performance was going to be. It was one of, if not the best show I've ever been to. And the way that the set was structured was awesome. They built the songs back up from scratch using a Mac keyboard and a guitar with a loop pedal for most of the songs. They didn't even play the actual track behind them. On top of that, the space between songs was like watching them mess around in the studio playing off of the end of the last song. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. You say, I've been super into music for as long as I can remember, and I've always wanted to get into making it. I've struggled the times I've made space to dig into and use a DAW or play guitar to write lyrics. It tends to not feel like something I have a natural feel for. Honestly, the most creative I feel is either when I'm really not doing well mentally or when I'm high, which I haven't been able to do since I've been living at home post-grad for the summer. It's too bad, brother. It's too bad. Last time I got high. It's been a while. Well, technically I got a little high at the United game, but I took 5 milligrams. That's not high. I didn't get high. Last time I got I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know. Sorry, let's get back to your email. I'm curious how you started to make music and if it's something that came to you easily. Was there a time you felt like you wanted to create but didn't know how? What was the first thing you made and that you felt proud of? Would love to hear about your relationship with music and also what you've been listening to recently. Between hearing you talk about music sometimes and recently meeting some small artists I love, music has felt like something I can absolutely do, and I don't want to lose the motivation. Half the reason I'm sending this is to keep myself accountable about building a habit of learning guitar and experimenting. Hell yeah, Drew. I love that. So I realized at the end there I was having a hard time reading that entire email. These sunglasses are very dark, so I'm sorry. It's the price of looking like a cool guy for a cool guy weekend, and sometimes I gotta really lock in and try to read it. So I apologize if that was hard to follow at home. So let's walk backwards with this one. You're curious how I started to make music, and is it something that came to me easily? The first time I started making music was 2014. It's 13 or 14, and it was because I got a ukulele, and I learned how to play ukulele, and I still to this day can play the hell out of one. I really can. I couldn't tell you all the chords, but I know where to put my fingers. You know what I mean? At this point, I don't remember which one is which. I just know what they are and what they sound like. You know what I mean? So I'd probably be a little bit rusty. I used to be good at tuning a ukulele by ear. I had a tuner, but I eventually I didn't even need it. I could just tune it by myself. Not anymore though. And that evolved into when I finally got an iPhone, which would have been 2000. My first iPhone was 2016, I think. And then, so GarageBand was something I could finally tool around with. And yeah, dude, to this day, I still don't know what I'm doing. I talk about this all the time. If I do bring up the music that I make, you sang a DAW, a DAW. Some other people have mentioned that. I don't know what that is. I got no idea. I don't know, from a technical perspective, how any of the shit works. I hardly know about, I can't read music. I don't think that's that crazy. I think a lot of people don't know how to, read sheet music. You don't really need... I don't want to say, I just have an ear for it. Yeah, that's all that it is. I just mean it in the sense that, I make something until I like the way that it sounds. You know? Is something out of tune? My voice, for example, is it not, melodically, meshing with whatever? Well, I won't know that because I like how it sounds, you know? So I've never spent money on FL Studio or I don't know what's another one of the big ones I just can't think of off the top of my head. None of them. I've always used the super fourth rate, cheapest, if not just completely free software. And I've always just made stuff with that. And it wasn't until, it was 3 years of me making music before I realized that I could change the tempo. And so I didn't know. I was like, wow, the metronome always just has to sound like this. I was like, what if I want to make it go faster? I was like, well, I guess I just have to have a better ear for this shit. And I was like, oh, I can change the tempo. Oh, okay, cool. So stuff like that. It's all just been trial and error. So I don't know, if you listened to Data Leak, it's very unrefined. Part of that is by design. Part of that is me coping with the fact that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And then part of that is just yeah, I'm still learning, bro. I still don't know. This new shit that I'm working on now, I've been working a lot with pitched up vocals. That's been fun. I think it may be a little bit jarring, and I think it may, I don't know how if people end up listening to that, I don't know if they're going to like it, but I really fuck with it. The most proud of something musically I've ever made I was pretty proud of Data Leak for like a month. And I thought it was the most important thing I'd ever made. And then a month passed and I was like, yeah. But I only felt that way because of how hard I worked on it. And it took me a year to do it. The visuals were a pain in the ass. But even looking back on it now, I'm like, there are a million things that I could have done differently. And that I just think I could have done to like make it better. And so I'm not even that proud of it anymore. I'm not proud of a lot of the music that I make, if any of it, because it's just an honest expression usually of what I'm thinking or feeling. That sounds so fucking lame. It's just an honest expression of what I'm thinking or feeling. No, I don't know. When I'm feeling something and I'm able to articulate it, I put it in a 90-second song, and then it's just an isolated moment for me. And then I get super excited about it as an idea, and then I put it out. I pull the pin on the grenade just so it exists somewhere. And then I kind of don't go back to it because usually as soon as I publish it, I just feel embarrassed or ashamed that I even published it in the first place, you know? Because I'm like, I could have just kept this in like a Google Drive or something. Just could have kept this for me, you know? Because obviously there's something in my brain that's true. I can say, I only do this for me, all I fucking want. But if that was true, I wouldn't put the shit on YouTube, right? So even if that's mostly true, there is still that little part of me, which just goes back to me being a deeply insecure and like validation driven, that I need people to tell me that because I wasn't told enough when I was a kid, that the thing that I'm doing is good and that I should keep fucking doing it, right? So I don't know. It was nice to see like, and then after a month, once Data Leak was out, I finally checked the comments. I was like, oh, people liked this, right? So that was nice to see, but I still just felt dumb that I even released it in the first place. What were some of your other questions here? There was one more that I wanted to get into. Was there a time you felt like you wanted to create but you didn't know how? All the time, brother. Still doing that. Still doing that. Usually, because how it used to work with me was I would, when it came to like writing lyrics, I would write poems. I would write so many poems, and then I tried to do it with haikus, but you can't really do it with haikus because the shit doesn't rhyme. It can rhyme, but it doesn't have to. So I would just write like super long form poems. And then eventually with a ukulele, I would find a progression that I really liked. And I would just have to plug and play whatever poem I liked. You know, does that make sense? Whereas like now what I do is I'll make something that I like, and then I'll kind of like hum like a melody over it, or I'll just kind of like bullshit like some words, like not freestyling over it, but you know, like I'll kind of like do a melody until I find something that works. And then I just puzzle piece, you know, words into it. Does that make sense? And so sometimes I'll be like, okay, this is how it's supposed to sound, and this is going to sound great, but I can't figure out the words to it. Sometimes it's a syllables game. Sometimes it's literally a rhyming thing. Sometimes it's like you need to figure out what idea you're trying to make here, brother, because this is 8 different things. Or it's like you're just finding words that rhyme, but what you're saying in totality does not make any sense. You get 2 verses into it. You're like, you're not saying anything. You're spinning the tires. You're not talking about anything here. So I released the one a month ago, Freedom Ain't Free. I worked like a motherfucker to write that one. I was proud of that one, honestly, because it was very time appropriate to what was happening in the world. I think that was like around the 4th of July that I put that out on the Motown Noah YouTube channel. And so, yeah, I was proud of that one. And I was also just excited to be showing something from like the new batch of stuff that I have. I've got probably like, of the new project, which I might change the name to. Digital Gemini has just sat with me so weird. It's been that in my head for like 4 months, and it wasn't until a month ago that I finally put it out there. And then as soon as I put it out there, I was like, it doesn't feel right now that I've put it out there out loud. I've said it out loud. Now it doesn't seem right. I might change it, and if I do, I know what I'm going to change it to. So I was proud of that one. And that was another one that took a while to write. And then eventually when what I'm talking about in the song, when all that stuff happened, it became a lot easier for me because it was my current reality, right? Well, not my reality, but if you listen to the song, you'll know what I mean. What have I been listening to recently? Well, actually, I don't know if this is a fun segment for you guys. Maybe if you guys want me to do this in the next episode, I'll include this. So I have a playlist that I just add to, and if my son and I are just hanging out, or I'm just listening to music by myself, or I'm doing something on my computer and I have Spotify pulled up, I just play this playlist. It's called Thought Leaders Incorporated. There's one member. I am the CEO of Thought Leaders Incorporated. There are not that many songs in here. It's like a little over 2 hours of a playlist. So why don't I just run down the list of all the stuff that's in here? We got Fickle Friends, 84, 85, Lil Yachty, Japanese House, Arctic Monkeys, Donna Masao, Charlie XCX, Audrey Nuna, Doja Cat, Polo G, More Yachty, Men I Trust, Parcells, I've never known how to say it. Always, Taylor Swift, more Doja, more Men I Trust, more Fickle Friends, some Chappell Roan, Japanese House, Phoebe Bridgers, Sabrina Carpenter, Porches, Daft Punk, Two Door Cinema Club, I don't know, Sounds Mint, Offset and JID, more Audrey Nuna, Kevin Abstract, Conway the Machine, more Charlie XCX. Yeah, so like, pop girly shit. Girly pop shit with a little bit of Lil Yachty twang, right? A little bit of a Doja Cat twang. Although, girly pop shit, that's Doja Cat. And then there's also just a random Polo G song in there, because Polo G is fucking sick. Yeah, maybe I'll include that one in the next one. But I don't know, for the most part, yeah, I just listened to a shit ton of Sabrina Carpenter. A lot of that, it's literally, like look at what I'm currently playing right now if you're watching today's episode. That's just like what it was paused on. Was Man-Child when I pulled up Spotify to show you guys this. So I listened to, what else is there? Like, I like the Japanese Breakfast. I like them. I think this year my Spotify Wrapped is definitely going to be, it'll be the Japanese House or Sabrina Carpenter as my number one on Spotify Wrapped. The 1975. I mean, when that new 21 Pilots album comes out, I'll listen to that. Tame Impala is finally back. Kevin Parker, finally fucking alive again. Came out with like an 8-minute song. It was weird the other day. The timing couldn't have been stranger. So when did he come out with this new song? Like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago? I swear to God, it was 3 days before the song came out that I was like, the Slow Rush came out 5 years ago. And I checked his Spotify. I was like, wow, yeah, he really just hasn't been coming out with anything like solo. Like, he has not really, like, Tame Impala is just not really a thing anymore. I was like, wow, that's really too bad. But I guess it was 5 years between the Slow Rush and Currents. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just give him some time and maybe he'll, I don't know, give him some time. And that week, he came out with a new single. I was like, whoa, so I don't know if this is like a new cycle for him. I don't know if he's dipping his toe back in the water. We're going to get an album. I haven't seen anything about that. Be sick if we were. Tame Impala back on the menu. That would be cool if that was true. But I don't know if it is. What else is there? Arctic Monkeys coming back would also be very, very nice. Yeah, that's, for the most part, everybody that I listed is basically it. I don't really listen to Drake anymore. I also don't really listen to Kendrick that much either. If I listen to either of them, I'm just listening to the beef shit. I just listen to those, 5 songs that are on Spotify, because, Meet the Grams and, 616 in LA, I don't think those two. There are a couple songs from the beef that just aren't on, streaming services. I don't really, which is fine with me, because I didn't really like those ones anyways. They were just, fun for the moment, but they weren't, shit that I'm going to keep listening to. But, Euphoria and Family Matters and Push-Ups and Not Like Us, yes, I want to listen to these songs. Outside of that, I just don't really, it's crazy. Drake was my life, bro. I just don't care anymore. I'm just I saw what happened. And it really bothered me at the time. And now I'm just kind of, well, not really bothered me. I was just kind of damn, that sucks. It sucks that you poked the bear and everybody knew what was going to happen if you poked the bear. You kept taunting the world that nobody could fuck with you. And in the back of our heads, we were like, there's one guy that definitely can. And then he, for years, did little subliminal shit over various singles and records. And then eventually, in April/May of 2024, Aubrey Graham got his comeuppance. And it just hasn't been the same since. That new song that he had with Central C, The Central C part, honestly, that the song wasn't good. I didn't like either of their verses. I like Central C a lot, especially as a dude, like really, really cool dude. Drake had another single that came out recently? I'm just like, I don't care. It was fun to me when you lied forever until it wasn't. Until you got called out on the biggest stage in the world for being a liar about various things. And then I was just kind of like, I don't like that it doesn't feel cool to like him anymore. And some of you are going to hear that and be like, oh, it was never cool to like him. He was fucking corny. Shut up. Because it was. Especially, listen, I was in high school when Nothing Was the Same came out. I was also in high school when To Pimp a Butterfly came out, bro. It was cool to like both of them. But like Drake was like the, fuck it, we're just having a good time and we're chilling and we're fucking partying and like whatever, throw some, not pound cake on, but you know what I mean. Whereas Kendrick, it was like, do you want a fucking master's degree in history and communications? Listen to Pimp a Butterfly. But I'm not like in the car like King Kunta. That's not true. Actually, I listen to King Kunta a lot in the car. I don't know. I just hate when people lie about what Drake was for a very long time. Now I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's too bad that those people ended up being right. How about that? Can we find some middle ground there? It's too bad that those people ended up being right. But actually, while we're already on Spotify, let's close out today's show. In the last episode, I said to you guys, the Spotify listeners, I said we are going to do 2 truths and 1 lie, and then I ended up doing 2 lies and 1 truth on accident. And I challenged you to figure out of the 3 things I said, which one was true. And the 3 things I said were, I've pooped my pants. The first time I bought weed was in school and the drug dogs came that day. And the third thing was, I've had 6 concussions. And drum roll, please. The truth is that the first time I bought weed in high school, the drug dogs came. That did happen. Yeah, I've never pooped my pants. Very happy to say that. Very proud to say that. I've had at least 1 concussion. I've only had 1 concussion that was diagnosed by a doctor. But when you play football for, like 8 or 9 years, and you're a fucking 10-year-old and you're on the ground and a coach is like, which is just somebody's fucking dad, is, oh, you just got your bell rung. My brain is bleeding. It's funny to look back on that. So I did get 1 concussion, like for real diagnosed. But either way, it's not 6. Might be more than 1, but it's not 6. Never pooped my pants. Yeah, I was in 9th grade, and I bought an 8th. I didn't know what to do with it. I just wanted to buy weed. And I put it was in a little plastic bag, and I put that plastic bag inside of an empty Gatorade bottle and put it in the bottom of my backpack, and the backpack was in my locker. Try to be as smart about it as I could, right? What else was I supposed to do? And that was at the beginning of the day before classes had started. And then I'm in like my 3rd hour. This is a couple hours later. They go over the PA. Hey, teachers, we're going to have a canine unit walking around the school. Just make sure all your students stay inside the classroom. Please, nobody walk around outside until we give the okay. Brother, when I tell you, you know what I mean? Woo. Now, I was not a kid that got in trouble for anything ever. I may have not have done my work, but I did not get in trouble. From 6th grade to when I stopped going to school at the end of 11th grade, you know how many times I was tardy? How many times I was late to class? 0. Never. I may not have done my work when I got there, but I was always there on time. I pride myself on my punctuality, okay? So when I'm only saying that to say, like, if I wouldn't even get in trouble for that shit, I was not a kid that fucked around and got in trouble, okay? So me knowing that about myself, when they say that the dogs are going around, I'm like, well, it's too bad that my life is over. It's too bad. My face was probably as pale as the damn whiteboard, you know what I mean? As the desk that I was sitting at. Sure enough, 10, 15 minutes go by. I'm waiting for somebody for an officer to like come in the classroom. And no, they just go over the PA and they're like, all right, all clear. You are now free to move about the cabin type shit. You know what I mean? So either those dogs are really dumb And they're bad dogs or they're good dogs. You know what I mean? Because they're bad dogs because they didn't smell the weed, or I just did a really good job of securing it and hiding it because I'm a genius, and even as a 9-year-old, I had the wherewithal to hide my drugs properly. Or they're good dogs, and they could smell the weed in my locker, but they could also smell that I was a good kid who didn't get in trouble. And he was like, you know what? Have a cool guy weekend, guy. You smoke that weed. I'm a good dog. I'm not gonna rat on you because this locker smells like that of a good kid. I've smelled some bad kids' lockers, but this smells like a good kid's locker. So you can have that weed. It's unknowable. It's unknowable what happened there. And then 3 months went by, and the weed stayed in that plastic bag in that empty Gatorade bottle, stuffed in the back of my closet. I don't know how you guys were as kids. My mom would just clean our rooms. It was infuriating when you're a teenager and you have shit to hide. Because you would just come home from school and your room was clean and you're like, fuck. Oh, no. My mom did that twice while I had the weed in my room. She never found it. I told her the last time I saw her was in May. I finally told her about it. I was like, you would clean my fucking room. And I had weed in there. I had drugs in there. Now, keep in mind, what are you in 9th grade, 13? I shouldn't have had that shit, but I did. And so 3 months go by. At this point, you're like, why did you let 3 months go by? I didn't know what to do with it. Again, I just wanted to buy it. I didn't know what a grinder was. You think I had papers? You think I had a bowl? I would do the thing where I would go on YouTube and be like, how to make a bong out of it, or a bowl out of a fucking apple. Out of use a pen cap or out of an empty Coke can. You know what I mean? I've still never, I have done that maybe once, but that one is still, that's crackhead level shit to me. But also when you're a kid, you don't really have that many resources at your disposal. You kind of just have to do what you have to do. So I don't shame that at all. But I didn't know what to do. So by the time, 3 months go by and I check on it, I mean, it looks like a damn tumbleweed. It's all brown and you know what I mean? It looks horrible. But nobody was home. So I grabbed some computer paper. And I rolled it up. So it was about this long. It looked like about a $5 foot long. So how long would that be? I don't know, 9 or 10 inches? It's big. And I put this little nugget at the end of the computer paper and I lit it. And I was standing over the toilet and I lit it on fire. But unfortunately, my underdeveloped, smooth brain was not thinking about the fact that this shit is super dry and is going to take like that. Also, it's not ground up. Also, and more importantly, this is computer paper. This whole thing is going to go up in flames immediately. And it did. Now, up until this point, I had also never inhaled anything in my entire life. So as soon as it bursts into flames in my fucking face, and all I do is inhale smoke, but not cool smoke, bad smoke, I just dump it all into the toilet. So now the bathroom kind of smells like a fraction of weed, like a 1% of weed, 99% just burnt shit. Now, I thought I had 2 hours at home by myself. That's why I was like, I'm going to spark up. I can't make this part of the story up either. The second it all goes into the toilet and I flush it and I open a window in the bathroom, the second that happens, front door opens, my mom and my sister come home. I'm done. It's over. It's over. Now, where we grew up, it was a 1-bathroom household. So my bedroom was right on the other side of the wall of the bathroom. So I was able to just scurry on into my bathroom, into my bedroom. But the problem was, I think my sister immediately went to the bathroom and I was like, I'm gonna get fucked. Now my sister of all people would not have ratted on me, but she didn't. I think I don't know. I guess maybe just because the house sort of naturally smelled like cigarettes and other incense and other forms of smoke. It didn't really pick up for them. And so I didn't get in trouble for that. Nothing ever happened. So so what's the lesson there? You can buy drugs as a kid. You can try to smoke those drugs as a kid and not get in trouble for it. And nothing's going to happen to you. It can happen. You don't think you should do it. It's not good behavior, but it can happen. Right? Imagine you're in the Little League World Series as a callback. You rip a dinger, then you're like, oh yeah, I've had weed in my fucking closet for 3 months. I'm going to smoke that when I get home. And then you burn your house down. What I asked you guys on Spotify was, I was like, is there anything that you guys want to lie about? Anything you guys want to lie about on Spotify? This one says, people are so funny when they reuse jokes. Example, Shay is a free throw merchant. Yeah, it's a good lie. It's a good lie. This one says, well, this isn't a lie. You just said, Alex said, I fear it is becoming a ritual to listen to this show while walking back from bars. Hell yes. Nice. So not a lie, but nice comment. One of you guys encouraged me to go see SZA in concert. It's just a lot of money. It's a wonderful performer and wonderful singer. Love her music. Love everything about her and her personality. Nicki Minaj going at her on Twitter for like a week. I was like, shut up. It's SZA's world and you are living in it, Miss Girl. But I just so appreciate it. Totally believe you that it's great, but I'm just not going to do it. Another lie is I love being laid up on a couch with a torn ACL. Yep. It must be horrible to tear your ACL or your MCL or where's your UCL? Isn't that your elbow? Rupture your Achilles. It must be horrible to do any of those things as like a civilian and not as a professional athlete. Because like, first of all, what the fuck were you doing? You might have been hooping or something. I don't know. But it just seems like it's the likelihood that you were doing something really dumb and it happened. I'm really sorry that happened to you. That really sucks. Your lie here was, I'm rich, bitch. You said, by the way, ain't no way you've had 6 concussions and it took you too long to think of the drug dog lie. That's funny you think that. I intentionally paused in the middle of it because I've 100% told that story on this show before. And so I needed to, that's so funny that you identified that because I intentionally was like, I need to like pretend that I'm thinking of this on the fly. Got your fucking ass. I'm above the height of 6 feet tall. Another lie. Motown Noah sold me Fent outside of LCA. Fentanyl's weird, bro. I've never done it. I never will because it scares me. Because I just don't understand what it is. I have no idea what it is. I just know that it's something that kills famous people. I don't know. It killed Lil Peep. I think it killed Mac Miller. Did it kill Juice WRLD? It just kills. I was going to say, did it kill Nipsey Hussle? A man with a gun killed Nipsey Hussle. That one fucked me up when Nipsey Hussle got killed. That sucked. This isn't the right take, but like, was it Victory Lap? Great record. This is what I'm saying. I don't want to be like, so if he was going to die, at least no, it's not really what I mean, but you know what I mean? Did they put out posthumous music for Nipsey Hussle? If they did, it wasn't anything close to what they do for XXXTentacion or for Juice WRLD or kind of Lil Peep, where they just dump out, like, they take a 5-second, like, voice recording from them and they turn it into a 2.5-minute song. It's the grossest shit in the world. I think Nipsey Hussle was preserved very well in that last record. Again, I think it was called Victory Lap. What's that one? Hustle and Motivate was my favorite one. Something, I got a show today. That's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and Motivate. Something Motorcade. I remember I used to drive from Howell to Ann Arbor, sometimes Ypsilanti, like every other day. I would listen front to back that Nipsey record. So I got real good at that one. So rest in peace to him, like for real. I did not sell that guy fentanyl outside of Little Caesars Arena. A guy did try to sell me weed the last time I went to a Pistons game, but I was with my in-laws, and my in-laws are not very chill with the whole weed thing. So I didn't, and I just used the excuse. It sounded like such a loser. I was like, no, sorry, I live in Chicago. And he was like, that's fine. I can still sell you drugs. And I was like, that's true. And I just kind of left. But he just kept following me, and I was like, fucking, I don't know how to get rid of this guy. I didn't want to make a whole scene and be like, stop trying to sell me drugs! And then, like, police, you trying to sell me drugs! No, because I otherwise, in any other environment, probably would have bought weed from that guy. But Spotify, I don't know. I told you the story about the first time I bought drugs. How old were you the first time you bought drugs? And did you get caught? Okay, I'll phrase it like this. The first time you bought drugs or the first time you got, like, caught by your parents doing drugs, how old were you? I never got caught by my parents doing drugs. Mainly because I wasn't really doing them as a kid. I didn't smoke weed for the first time until I was with Maddie, and I was, like, I don't know, I was maybe, like, 17, maybe? 16 maybe. I don't think I was 16, but I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's normal. Had a little thing with a buddy of mine gave me some muscle relaxers, Klonopin. That was a good time. But, like, I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't underage drinking that much. again, I was a good kid until I met Maddie. And then I was like, what could we get into? But now we have a kid together. And we've been together for 11 years. So it's like, you know, at least that worked out. And it's like maybe we were doing stuff we weren't supposed to, but at least I was doing it with somebody who I was going to spend eternity with. Could have been a lot worse, right? All right. Apple Podcasts. What's up? What's up? Have a good chill guy weekend, everybody. Do something chill. Thought I was going to have more to say than that. I don't. Have a good chill guy weekend. See you on Monday. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check, and I will catch you guys in the next one.